We need to do the RP logo with 83 in the middle.
Dude.
Special shirt for you.
I told you before, I have like a design type business that I've always wanted to start. It was for shoes and stuff because I did like a little thing when I was in college.
Yeah.
But I would love to do some stuff like that, dude.
Yeah. Someone was telling me to get and do designing some crazy like fitted shirts and stuff like, but dude, it's not a fashion company.
Yeah.
You know, it's different. I don't want to get into like fashion. One, I'm not like a fashion guy. You know, I wear fucking t-shirts, jorts. I mean, yeah, when I dress up, I throw on a blazer with fucking cowboy boots.
I think you're pretty stylish.
I got my own.
You got your own style.
I got my own style.
Yeah, I wear like athletic clothes, like
athleisure man,
95% of the time. And like I used to.
Why not?
Yeah, one of my buddies told me one time because I was like, "Damn, dude, I feel like I should maybe not wear this all the time." He's like, "No, dude, that's your swag, bro." I mean, legit, I wear some kind of athleisure to like shoots, meetings, everything.
Yeah, if I could like. Yeah, I mean, one day I'll get like a manufacturer or do my own, you know, that's a long-term goal, but definitely going to make my own jorts, some RP jorts, dude. I feel like I have to. As much as I wear them.
I want those.
I've been wearing my silkies a lot lately, though, dude. All I wear is my silkies. Like, I'm letting them thighs out.
Yeah, the ones, you gave me 2 pairs, and one of them was really short. Like, even, like, I was trying them. I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna try to wear them. I'm gonna figure out a place to wear them. But the other ones, the ones that are more, they have like the holes in them. They feel more like shorts, like actual shorts. The silkies are the smaller ones, right? Those are the silkies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the silkies were the ones I was like, those are pretty short.
Dude, they are. I wear a size large, and I got like it looks like my third ass cheek hangs out. I got a third ass cheek, dude.
That's hilarious.
Because real quick, when I got my rec,
yeah,
the way I landed, it like shifted the muscle down. So like, there's legit like a third ass. I got.
Damn.
I would show
like
you,
a third
but
cheek?
I ain't trying to, you know, that's for the OnlyFans.
You said a third ass. You have 2 asses?
I got
3 cheeks.
I got 3 cheeks, dude.
3 cheeks.
I got like on my right side where I got all my nerve damage and shit. Like the wreck just fucked me up so much. Like it like shifted some muscle downward.
Yeah.
So there's like, looks like I got 3 second butt cheek on my right side.
Interesting.
Almost.
Well, that's a good place to start, I guess, because nobody cares about the shorts that I like to wear. So I guess we'll hop into that. We'll hop into this.
I mean, we're just doing our thing.
We've been here for like an hour already. Just bullshitting, basically.
Bullshitting, talking about coming up with plans. I don't know, fucking just going on.
We're coming up with plans.
Dude, we got some good stuff.
We do.
So,
but today.
Yeah, I'll do a quick intro. What's up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit podcast. This is episode number 10, I believe.
The 10th one.
So we did have a guest scheduled for today. Fell through. He's coming back through next week. Y'all have seen him before, so when that time comes, you'll know. But
and we've had a lot of good guests so far too. Real quick before we get into it, since it's you and me sitting here,
amazing guests.
It's an opportunity to kind of reflect just for a second. Podcast has gone great so far. For my part, I have to definitely say I appreciate everybody who's.
Yeah, thank you to all of you that have shared it. You know, just getting it out there and constantly sharing the stuff and giving us a lot of positive feedback. I mean, you know, on YouTube and stuff, we got some negative feedback, but
That's been hilarious though.
Well, people just don't necessarily agree with what I say, and that's fine. You know, I really don't engage in the negativity. We're just kind of like, hey, thanks for watching, you know, but you know, there's no reason for me to get defensive. That's their perspective, you know, and I can't be mad at that. I've got my own perspective on things. That's what I put out here. Yeah. That's why, you know, I bring guests on. We all share our perspective. Everybody's got it differently. But so there's no reason to get defensive about it. I'm just like, cool. Okay. Well, at least you're seeing it.
Yeah. And you knew that going in, you know, that you were that there was a chance that people were going to, that they was likely that people were going to react at some point in some kind of way, one way or the other. We knew that. But.
Yeah, it's just part of it. But yeah, we've had great guests. I mean, you know, you've been on here with me a few times. I mean, with this new run, we've had Steve and Will and Tyler and Roy Mangrum and, you know, we got Landon coming back, you know, I think about a year later from, I mean, it's about a year and a half later than when he recorded the first time. And then.
Same with Tyler.
Yeah, we got Landon next week. Landon's supposed to be here today, but shame on you.
So shout out, Landon. We love you still.
Love you, buddy. And then we got Charles Rucker coming on next week as well.
A little announcement there.
All Ruck Nutrition. So that'll be fun. So his episode will come out in a few weeks or something like that.
A couple weeks from this one, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, really some solid lineup. I mean, Roy's only been on camera twice ever. You know, and he sat here for almost 2 hours and talked to you, and so that was great.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Will was great.
They've all been great.
And what I really love about it is they're all different. You know, I'm in there making the clips, and I like it because there's certain common threads. Like, for example, I was telling Margaret that one thing that I love that we keep coming back to is men's mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's naturally developed as a theme that we talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's so relevant, but
we bring a lot of masculine individuals on too that are doing man stuff, but we all agree that like men's mental health is
not talked about enough.
And it's good. It's good. I mean, there's so many people out there that agree. I mean, there's people that don't, but I think they're just
people that would not agree that like I don't even know how you could say you don't agree with mental health. Like what does that even mean? Like,
well, I mean, had a guy say, that
on the depression is real clip.
Oh yeah, what do you say?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he's like, oh no, yeah, he was like, you're creating. This is just a weak mindset, and it's like, dude, you don't even know what I've been through. You don't know my life. You don't know any of these people's lives, but you just say, you hear us talk about depression being real and you're like, we're weak. Like,
exactly.
No, man, it's weak to ignore it.
100%.
It's strong to fucking work on it.
And the people that we've had on here, including yourself, and I'll throw myself in there a little bit too, but these aren't people that are just talking out of their ass. These aren't random people, like business owners, people that interact with people, other people on a daily basis in a big way. And, my point being is that these are people that are, like, Roy's a heavy hitter, bro. Like, he runs a big business, and he's
got fucking Steve. I mean,
Steve, I
mean, that motherfucker with one leg is out there snowboarding, doing shit. I don't even know how to snowboard.
Yeah, he's incredible. So, to have it talked about by people who, that I feel have a real, they have something to stand on when they talk about it. You know what I mean? It's like when we were talking to Tyler, it's like, were you afraid at all to like talk about that stuff because of your brand? And we were saying it's important to.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah.
He brought that up, but he was being real.
He didn't know. And he said on it, he's like, no, I kept it to myself. I didn't feel like it was it was great because then we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome. The guests have been awesome. The YouTube is going crazy. Just in general, I've loved this. And like we were talking about before we got on here, it's like, I'm excited. Today I was excited to come up here to do this, dude.
Yeah, honestly, this has been my favorite part of this headquarters is doing the podcast. Like I would record, maybe not every day because I feel like that'd be pretty exhausting.
Yeah.
But if we can get to where we're recording like 3 times a week.
Like all resources aside, it'd be great to just sit here and do this every day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got everything we need for it. Just it's very time consuming. But it's a lot of fucking fun. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm so stoked to like get so many guests on here. We're gonna have so many different people, dude.
So today,
I'd like to get Theo Vaughn on here.
Oh God, yeah. Well,
Theo.
One good thing about being where we're at
here.
is that Nashville. Yeah, I was gonna say Nashville, dude. There's so many people in Nashville. So many people in Nashville. And on the level of business owner, that we're at and that Roy's at and that kind of stuff. But people like Theo live here. Andrew Schultz, I think, is here a lot. Andrew Schultz. He's a comedian, real popular comedian, but he would like him a lot.
I don't really know a lot of comedians. I just know Theo Vaughn for some reason. I think he's the funniest fucking person. Amazing. He cracks me up.
But today, last time, speaking of guests, Roy was mentioning after the podcast, we were telling him, because we kind of drop in stuff sometimes about your story.
Yeah.
We did a full video. If you haven't seen that video, it's still up on your personal page, probably on the RP page too.
Yeah.
And I think it's on my page, my Cinema83 Instagram, and it's definitely on my YouTube. But we did like a 13 minute long video.
Yeah.
One of the longest story videos I've ever done. And I only bring that up to say because a lot of people think that full-length content is like you can't make it because nobody cares about it. I still refer to that video to this day for all the comments that it had, all the heartfelt things that people said to you, the views, just everything. It just went crazy. And it was 13 minutes long. People sat there and watched that whole thing because it was an incredible story. But we told that story 2 years ago.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So we've mentioned, we've dropped it in the last few podcasts, with my wreck, these injuries, and you even spelled it out a little bit. But Roy was mentioning, hey, maybe it's a good time to kind of revisit that and tell everybody. It's grown a lot. There's new people.
That's one thing I've noticed is like as the brand's growing, as like the podcast is getting out there, like a lot of people still don't know what RP, why it even started. They don't know the story. Like that basically inspired what we have now and what it's turning into. And like Roy was blown away. He was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know this. And he was like super blown away about it. And I was like, that's when we were like, man, maybe we should just like revisit this every once in a while, give people a refresher on everything. Let them learn like why we're doing this, like why we're out here, putting out this message. And so it's cool to do that refresher. So this is what that is. So a lot of y'all that might know the story or like just know a little bit, this would be good for you to just kind of grasp like, damn, okay,
Yeah.
this is where we're at.
And then too, we also did another separate story video, which is how I usually structure story videos when I start out with somebody. I'll do a story about the owner, which was, for you, it was the story we'll get into, and then the brand. And so we did a separate video explaining the logo and all that stuff. But luckily for us, we're in a podcast now, so we can talk about it all.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to do the story, how it started. But then once we start, I want to explain, I want them to understand the logo, all that stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
so, yeah. Sorry, wherever you want to go. Whenever we did the video, you actually started from childhood. So if you want to jump there, or you can go straight to the acting, wherever you want to pick it up. But
yeah, I'll start a little bit. Just because it's a story of ups and downs for sure. Overall, we'll go ahead and start. Overall, I can't talk. Overall, my childhood was great. I have amazing parents. I have an amazing sister. Obviously we butted heads, but that's what fucking siblings do. My sister is amazing though. I love her to death. Shout out to Jess. And she's a beautiful mother and wife and I don't know, love her to death. Yeah. And, but yeah, I got the coolest fucking parents. They've always been extremely supportive. My dad sacrificed a lot to take care of our family and do what he needed to do in order to lead the household, and they raised me with just wonderful values and things that have really stuck with me, and I see that are extremely important these days. And so that's a big part of who I am, the things they taught me, and people that know my mom, she went through hell in her childhood. Absolute fucking hell. And I'm not going to go into depth about that, maybe one of these days. But, she learned from that. She didn't want to be a product of that, and, she raised us the exact opposite of how she was raised, and I will always be grateful. She didn't use that as a crutch to a lot of people will do negative shit or treat people a negative way. And they'll be like, well, it's because of my childhood. And I'm like, man, this woman, if anybody that knows my mom and her story, you don't have to be a certain way just because of your childhood.
If anybody had an excuse.
Yeah. If anybody had an excuse to be her, she was one of 7, she was the youngest of 7 siblings, and it was just pure hell. Mm. But anyways, so great childhood. My parents were fucking awesome. Always had me in sports, this and that. And, wanted me to just do well in school and stuff. I never really was a good student.
Where'd you grow up?
Kind of all over the place, man. I was actually born in Tampa, Florida, and my sister was born in Fort Lauderdale. And then we spent most of my childhood in Georgia. Moved around Georgia. I lived in Texas we lived in Houston, Texas for a year or 2. Back to Georgia, and then up to North Carolina.
Why'd you move so much?
My dad, he's always been in the trucking business, executive side of things, and so just different opportunities. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, we moved to North Carolina in beginning of high school, and so I went through high school there, and then I went to college. And so I'll get on that. So yeah, went through high school, had a really cool high school experience. Most of my childhood I was picked on. We moved a lot, and I was short, kind of chunky, and I got picked on a lot, man. And which is cool. It's part of it, man. I fucking just dealt with it. Every once in a while I'd punch a bully in the face, kind of my parents taught me hey, if anybody fucks with you,
yep.
Show them what's up. Yep. Don't stand down. Don't cry about it, stand up for yourself. Which I stick to this day. I think that's very important because a lot of times, especially in the current system, kids are taught the exact opposite. Someone hassles you, go tell. No, fucking defend yourself. You have every right to do so.
Did you find that defending yourself in that way helped?
Without a doubt.
They stopped messing with you?
Yeah, and it feels good.
Yeah.
When someone's trying to throw you in a fucking mud puddle and you punch them in the nose and they don't expect it.
Yeah.
It usually can help. They'll usually fucking stop.
Yeah.
Even if they could kick your ass, they're like, whoa, this guy actually.
It's not, well, a lot of times it's not worth it. Even if I could kick your ass, I might take a few hits on the way out, and it's not worth it. It's what even somebody who could do that may say.
Well, they usually mess with people that won't mess with them back.
Right.
And they just keep doing the same thing. It's a recurrent cycle. But anyways, and these are the things I'll steal in my kids one day, someone messes with you, fucking knock them out. I got your back. I think it's important. But anyways, so moved to North Carolina. I grew that summer big time to where I was one of the biggest dudes in my school as a sophomore.
At the same school?
Yeah, the one I moved to in North Carolina. I started high school here and I was like one of the biggest guys there. And, you know, I was pretty like strong, good athlete and all that. And so just things changed, you know. High school was really cool. You know, just really focused on girlfriends and football and partying with my friends.
You play football?
Oh yeah, football was my sport.
I feel like I knew that, but I didn't. So you were that was your thing in high school, huh?
Yeah, I grew up playing everything. I sucked at. We figured out basketball and soccer were not my things early on. I liked baseball, but then I eventually stopped playing baseball. I stuck with football, man. I liked
hitting people. I knew you were going to say that.
I liked it. I liked it, man. It's just the most aggressive sport, you know. I wish, you know, I did some wrestling too. But yeah, football was my thing, man. And so I just focused on those things. And
what position did you play?
So I was all over the offensive line because I was like 250 in high school.
Shit, you played offensive line, bro?
Yeah, I was offensive and defensive. Well, I was offensive line and I did some, you know, linebacker on defense. They switched me around and even defensive line. But offensive.
Should have given your ass the ball every play, big as you were.
Yeah, I was a pretty big boy, man. I just never really was that fast, but whatever.
I feel you on that one, bro. Is
what it is. So yeah, football was my thing. I don't watch football anymore. But you know, we talked about this. Yeah. I just don't like televised sports. Yeah. I don't really like engaging and watching sports. It's just
you don't even watch fighting, even though you fight.
Yeah, exactly. I just like doing my fucking thing, and I just don't find entertainment in watching that. Nothing against anybody that does. And yeah, I'll make some jokes. I'm sure you saw the meme I posted the other day.
Maybe
it said, "It's now that time. It's now sports ball season.
Sports ball season.
It's now sports ball season. Remember, it's lose, not loose." And I also added in, and remember, and also, it's they won, not we won, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know, it got a lot of reactions. Of course, some people are like, "Screw you, man," you know. But I was just trolling.
I totally get why people, if you don't have any kind of connection to it, why it looks so silly. Especially people who have like really no connection to it, who don't even like. You played sports. Right, but like people that really, really, really don't get it, and they're like, these people are throwing a ball around, and 100,000 people show up to watch, and this makes no sense. But like we were talking about, I got tickets for me and my dad to go to a game, right? And that's awesome because that's what we've always done. We've always connected on that. Yeah. And so like for me, like Tennessee football, for example, college football, once I got to the age of being in college, I was like, these are just normal dudes. And half of them I know them personally, and they're fucking shitheads.
Yeah,
they're not even good people, and they take advantage of the position that they're in, and blah, blah. And that's a broad generalization, but it basically like broke my innocence about college sports in particular, where I was like, these are just kids. It's 18 to 22-year-old kids figuring it out, and figuring it out. And we put them on like the NFL. To me, is a little bit different because he's a grown man with families, and it's just it's a business. But the whole fandom of college football kind of got broken for me, and I say that to say I still watch Tennessee, and I'm really excited to go to this game with my dad because I grew up going to games with my dad.
Yeah.
But I could see 100% why people that don't have something like that are like, what in the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Trust me, I'm surrounded by people that are huge fans of like Tennessee and the Titans and all that, and I don't know. I talk a little shit. I usually just am trolling people, but at the end of the day, it's just not my thing. I don't get into it. You know, if like my brother-in-law invites me to the Titans game, I'll go. You know, I'll probably be in all black. I like the pregame and like do the tailgating and stuff and just hang out. Yeah. So it's always a good time, but I'm like not really invested in it. Yeah. Plus it's something he loves to do. So it gives me time to, you know, spend time with him and, you know, connect and all that.
I do think like when the Raiders stadium was built and it was like, you know, $30 billion or something, it's like kind of hard whenever you like the Titans are building a stadium right now, right? And it's like, I'm super excited.
Oh, they're building a new one?
Yeah, I'm super.
I didn't even know this.
Well, they're building a new one because they want to get a Super Bowl in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's this gigantically long process that I did a project on a few years ago, and it blew my mind. Like, all the hotels within a certain area have to have NFL Network on every TV, for example. Just like weird stuff like that.
I know that.
The NFL executives that come in for the Super Bowl, the week of the Super Bowl, they have to be given free access to all the golf courses in the area.
It's crazy.
I mean, like all these little crazy things you would have never thought
I didn't know that.
But they're building a stadium, point being is, and you know, it's going to be billions of dollars and whatever. It's kind of weird. Like you go downtown, again, I totally get it. Even though I love it, I totally get it. You go downtown and you pass 60 homeless people and it's like, we're tearing down our stadium to build a new stadium.
Yeah.
Right over there.
Yep.
You know, it's a little bit weird, but also I'm a fan, which stands for fanatic. And so we look over these things, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, at the end of the day, to each their own, man. I'm not mad about it. You know, but there's always this saying, it's like create your own hero.
Yeah.
And that's like my visualization. Like, why am I going to watch these guys do things and cheer for them when I can be doing my own shit?
Be your own hero.
Yeah. Be your own. Yeah. But you got to create it, you know, and like, how do you do that? But anyways, to each their own. So
yeah, I got you way off. I'm sorry.
no, you're good, dude. That's what we do. So sports. Yeah, man. So I grew up playing sports. Also cheerleaded. I was a competition cheerleader.
Interesting.
Yeah, man.
You were in high school?
Yeah. So I remember my junior year, the girls were like, "Oh my God, you should do it." And I'm like, "No, it's for chicks, dude. That's dumb. I'm too tough for that. I'm like cheerleading.
I play football, dude."
Yeah. Well, then my senior year came around and it got brought up again, and then it ended up being me and like 4 other dudes on the football team that went for it. And up until the football season was over, we couldn't actually throw anybody in the air. Like my football coach was like, "Man, y'all get hurt doing that bullshit. I'm gonna kick your ass." And you know, I understand.
Oh yeah, dude. Could you imagine having to come in there and tell your coach?
Yeah, like I fucking broke my arm.
What were you doing, Adams? I was trying out for the cheerleading.
yeah.
I can imagine how that would go.
But it was cool, man. I ended up being on the competition team. We went to nationals in like Orlando. Like we were really good. I was getting recruited by some pretty big schools like University of Oklahoma, USC and shit. I worked for UCA. I was a cheerleading instructor, which is like UCA is one of the biggest things, and they run all the competitions. So that following summer, I was a cheerleading instructor, and it was dope. I mean, it was cool. I was 18, 18-year-old kid. You're throwing it.
Chicks around all over the place.
Well, yeah, because it's like, all right, let's send you to this camp in Myrtle Beach. It's you, maybe 2 other guys, and like 10 college cheerleader chicks that cheer for like Clemson and USC and Georgia.
The best of the best.
And as an 18-year-old, I'm like, dude, hell yeah. And all I had to do was like throw chicks in the air and walk around. Yeah. Like pretty simple, got paid a lot. And
yeah, bro, I do that on a Friday night just cause.
Sweet fucking job. And so I had fun with that.
That's wild. I think everybody would be surprised to hear that. I didn't know that at all. And in fact, not only did you cheerlead, you're like, yeah, cheerlead. It's like, wait, you had offers from USC to cheerlead? That's a bit of a different. Did you ever think about going for that?
So I did, but
just for the education at least?
Well, so my dad and my grandfather went to this school called the Citadel. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, one of my best friends growing up, his dad went there.
Yeah, big military college in South Carolina, Charleston.
Yep.
And so I was kind of
a real deal. That shit's been around for hundreds of years.
It's been around a long time. Great school. It was a legacy thing, though, So while I had these opportunities to go here and there, because like especially through the camps and whatnot, working for the cheerleading company, like I had a bunch of these coaches were working with me. So they're like, "Hey, come down, cheer with us, all this shit." And I was like, "Man, that'd be pretty cool." And looking back on it, I would have been way too reckless because I already was, had I even going to college. So long story short, I went to the Citadel. I actually did go to the Citadel.
That's awesome.
And I was there for like a couple of weeks. And dude, I was like, fuck this.
Oh yeah. So not awesome.
Yeah. I got through like the Hell Week stuff. And like, it's not like that was different. Yeah. You get there, when you first get there, like they just fucking.
Just in general, they fuck with you like that?
Yeah. They basically, they're supposed to, they just put you through shit. You're like up nonstop. They're yelling at you, making you do all these things. Like it's pretty like intense, especially as like an 18-year-old.
And just as a normal student, they did that.
Yeah.
Like you didn't join it.
Yeah, because you're in these big barracks, that's how it is. It's definitely pretty strict, man. And you like wear a uniform and everything. Like it's, it's like getting thrown into basic training.
It's a culture shock, I'm sure.
Yeah. Coming from like, just high school, being a jock and shit. Yeah. And so, but I did it because it's what my family did. And I was like, that's the right thing to do. And, so I went a couple weeks later. I was like, man, fuck this, dude. I don't want to be here. I do not want to do this for 4 years. Like, what am I thinking? So, I ended up getting picked up from there. And I was pretty ashamed for a while, just like
having left.
Yeah. My parents, were pretty disappointed, and I understand. And I think my dad was super proud that I went, and so for me to leave, he was super fucking like bummed.
Oh, yeah.
And I felt like such a disappointment and shit. And ended up sending me to a school called Gardner-Webb in North Carolina. Went to school there. I was on track for like 2 weeks. I got to start like late, just because I transferred like out of nowhere. But yeah, so I got started a little later, and I went to school. Like I was focused for a couple weeks. Made some friends. Next thing you know, like, all right, start smoking weed all the time. All right, that's cool. That's cool. We get hooked up with like a local dealer. And it just kind of like sprouted out of control from there, man. Nick, like I'm smoking weed, and then next thing you know, like, all right, let's try like Xanax, let's try Klonopin, let's just try all these painkillers, like all these different, benzos and shit like that. And it got to be where that was a daily occurrence, to the point where like some of these pills I would snort like multiple ones at once.
Fuck.
So like the beginning of my day was
Mixing them too.
walking to class and like instead going to like smoke a blunt and then taking some pills, and then I'd be high all fucking day. And mixing them. I didn't really care. And it got to where that most of like pretty much that whole college experience was, hanging out in the hood at the dealers, like just popping pills and smoking weed all the time. And of course, like I was like, oh man, I can't really afford this stuff because I'm like running stuff around, trying to get some free drugs, whatever I could do to keep that, that habit going. And just constantly skipping class, failing shit, and I was just like, fuck. But I just was so focused on the, just being high part, kind of just numbing it, man. I was so like ashamed of myself that I just did more.
So you were ashamed of what you were doing, or you were still ashamed of like the Citadel stuff?
I was ashamed of all of it, I was just like, fuck, I'm letting everybody
just weren't
down.
like where you were at in your life.
So yeah, so the pills just became a numbing, it helped me cope with that and just like numb all that. Because when you get hooked on pills, it's just like you black out most of the time, so, and I'd be mixing that with alcohol and shit, and I would be blacked out a lot. And
so you just don't have to experience all this.
Dude, and it got to the point where like if I'd either be running things around or I'd be like scrounging for change just so I could get my hands on whatever. So as y'all know, this is a Relentless Pursuit podcast. Main sponsor, of course, is Relentless Pursuit. Check us out on Relentless_Pursuit on Instagram, and I always forget my fucking HQ one. Let's see, Relentless.
When I type in RPHQ, it comes up. Like,
RPHQ, yeah.
That's not the actual tag,
but it's Relentless Pursuit _HQ. So check us out. That's going to share everything going on in the headquarters. Getting better at updating that one. Social media is just a bitch. And then we got the Relentless Pursuit podcast, which we're on now. Check that out. We got a lot of stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have like a recovery team here. We got the gym. We got the podcast, the apparel, everything. So definitely check us out, and also check out
Cinema 83. So as you guys know, I produce this podcast. I also do just podcast production in general. But luckily, I've been proud to do most of Joe's content, especially video content, over the last couple of years, and work with quite a few people in pretty much all over Tennessee. I have a client in Dixon County. I have a client in Crossville, but a lot of my stuff is in Middle Tennessee. And story videos, value-based videos, that's really what I focus on. A podcast being a great story and value, so I love doing the podcast as well. But any kind of videography that you need, I also do photography, publish photography, and then I also do consulting. So if you don't know what kind of content to make, if you don't know anything about social media or anything like that, I offer consulting services as well for providing value, teaching people. So videography, photography, any kind of content creation, and if you have no idea where to start, I can help you with that too.
There's some amazing stuff, man.
At Cinema 83 LLC on Instagram, Cinema 83 on YouTube, working on the website.
Hell yeah.
And that's that.
Cool.
So where we left off was
drugs, college.
Yeah, basically. So at that point, what I was going to ask you is, at that point, do you think you were in addiction at that point? Like you were addicted?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'd do anything to get my hands on that shit.
Yeah.
And somehow I kept it pretty undercover, like my family and stuff. But
well, you weren't around them for one thing.
No, I'd visit on the weekends, but usually I'd hang out with my homie, and we did just do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like we just kind of avoid our parents and all. I even got pulled over one time, man, like on this shit. I don't know. It was a long story, but yeah, like pretty crazy stuff. Long story short, navigated my way through that year of college there, and, just hadn't worked out, like got super unathletic. Like if people could see pictures of me when I was, but at the end of that year, I looked like absolute shit, man. Like, ugh, I don't know. It pisses me off.
Just to
when I
think
see
about
that
it.
guy, I'm like, you fucking slob.
Yeah.
And so.
Do you know how much you weighed then?
I mean, probably like the same I do now, but it was just.
No muscle.
No muscle. It was just.
Isn't it crazy how your body can do that?
Yeah. So long story short, I got to the end of that year. Started looking at my grades, man. I'm pretty sure I failed every single class. I had to have. I don't know how the hell I would have passed anything anyways. So pretty sure I failed everything. But yeah, I remember being in the dorm, and one day I just like went to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror, and I was like looking at me with my shirt off, and just really analyzing myself and picking myself apart. And I was just like, dude, I fucking hate you. Looking at that guy in the mirror. And I don't know, man. I walked away and left that guy there. I called my friend. I was like, dude, I'm going to go to a military recruiter. And he was like, I've been thinking the same thing. So we ended up going to an Air Force recruiter. After getting a lot of advice, talked to some, like our SRO officer from high school and just different people that were all veterans and from the Marines, Army, and people give me shit about being Air Force all the time, but I think it's only because they're jealous. Because we had all the nice shit and good food, and they always say that. But all these ex-Marines and stuff, like they're like, go Air Force if you can. So yeah, I ended up going in the military.
Real quick before you jump in, our first ever phone interruption.
Fuck. Okay. That's because I always got so many alarms going.
We actually had Will. Got a call, remember?
Oh yeah.
Somebody was like in his shop while we were recording.
Yeah, had someone working.
I was going to ask you real quick before you jump off, and I know I keep jumping in the story. I want you to tell it, but
no, you're good.
I think this is a really important moment for you to describe. You're talking about in the dorm. You mentioned that you felt like you hated yourself. You talked about all the reasons why you were using at that point, so you were feeling ashamed at that point too. But I think it's really important for people to like get into your head in that moment at where like all those things were true the day before, but you in that moment changed your entire life. I think that's a beautiful way to put it. You said I turned around and left that guy right there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like I looked in the mirror and I saw this person that I knew wasn't me, but they were, it was just a reflection. And I was just like so disgusted by what I saw. I was like, here's somebody that's just let go of themselves, gained all this weight, they're failing classes, being just ultimate disappointment, hooked on drugs, like just an ass. And I just looked and I was like, man, I fucking hate you. And I walked away and that person stayed there. And like I said, I went to the military, and I think it's important because people talk about self-love and everything. And I think that's important as well. But so you might take it, me saying I hate myself or I hated that person is like kind of fucked up. But no, I love myself so much that I wanted to leave that person there.
Right.
I saw this person. I was like, dude, you're better than this. I love you. I love my family. I love,
And that's what I wanted to get to, because in that moment, some people may say, I fucking hate myself. I'm done with this. And they're done.
And they check out and they do something crazy. No, but I love myself so much. I was like, I need to make a fucking change.
Right.
And to me, I was like, well, military was the best way to like totally fix me. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, there's other ways I could have gone about it, but that was going to be a hard fucking fix. And so, yeah, we ended up going to a recruiter. It took a little while to get through everything. And then, yeah, lost a bunch of weight. My dad had me running in like a fucking sweatsuit and shit. So I'd be over the football field doing that so I could like make the weight for, qualifying and everything. Yeah, dude, I went to basic training in, I think November 2009. I think it was something like that. Yeah, went to basic and then I was in the military for 6 years, dude. And yeah, I signed a 6-year contract. And it was funny at the beginning. I was like, I'm gonna be in 30 years, And so I signed for 6 instead of 4. And then 4 years in, I was like, fuck, why can't I get out now?
So tell me a little bit about that when you were in the military. So you were telling me earlier you were a mechanic. Yeah,
I was a F-22 weapons guy. So I worked on the flight line. I worked on all the weapons systems on the F-22 fighter. So we basically maintained all the weapon systems and we loaded the bombs and all the missiles and stuff like that.
Before missions would go out?
Yeah, I mean, in the base I was at, it was mostly training they did there, because they're constantly training. They're constantly going up, doing things, just working on these jets, So it was just, a lot of fucking work.
A lot of mechanic work for 4 years, 6 years.
Yeah. And then my last couple of years, like, I was good at loading. So, I just did well. So, like, I got a good job my last couple of years being an instructor. So I was a weapons loading instructor, so I didn't have to do any maintenance, which was great. And I just got to fucking load and qualify people and watch the line and check on all that shit. And I did get deployed at one point, but it was like I had to volunteer for it because we were a training base. So our base didn't actively deploy like that, but you could do volunteer to get deployed with different units or whatever. And so I just like pressed my flight chiefs. I was like, get me overseas. Finally, it worked out. It's just something important to me while I was in. I was like, I want to deploy while I'm here.
Yeah.
It'll fulfill me, So got that knocked out, and that was pretty cool.
Where to?
Al Udeid, Qatar. And like, it's not, people give you shit because it's a pretty nice deployment base. I mean, it's in the desert, but it's pretty pretty cush for deployment, but still did it.
You were deployed?
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm glad I did. Yeah,
I've never said that to you before. I respect the hell out of your service. I don't know how many people know that you were freaking instructor in the Air Force for 2 years. You were in the military for 6 years. I mean, you do talk about being veteran owned with RP, but
yeah,
that's why I wanted to kind of hear, like, tell me about. I have uncles and my grandfather was in Vietnam. My uncle was in the Air Force, and he actually did something similar. He worked on planes and stuff, and so it's like. It's easy to be like, yeah, I was in the military for 6 years, and then move on to the next thing with like, hey, you were in the you served our country. Let's take a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
dude. No, it was good. I'm glad I did it, man. And
from cheerleader
to
weapons loading instructor
to drug addict to fucking weapon. Yeah.
And we just barely started.
Yeah, I know exactly. And so finished up my 6 years though, man. And I was pretty dead set on moving up to Tennessee, and so got out, I think like November 2015, I got out. I moved up here. Had a pretty cool job doing tours with like, high profile, like book writers, like Ben Carson and like when he was running for president. Yeah, I like got it. My cousin had this job here with this company Premier in Nashville, and they basically like run these big book signing events. And so I got to travel, like while Ben Carson was running for president, I got to travel around on a fucking tour bus with him for a couple weeks.
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, pretty wild.
Who are you?
It's pretty cool. He'd be like on the bus doing interviews with, big news channel like Fox News and shit. Yeah. I'm like right there. And I'm
so
like, this is pretty wild.
What did you say you were doing? Sorry.
Just like running this whole like book signing crew. He'd go like set up at these big events and there'd be thousands of people and like, you kind of like security plus organizing everything and make things run really smoothly. So
damn.
I did that with him and like,
that's a
Governor Abbott for Texas, like their governor. Yeah. And just,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I did like a Trump book signing thing, but he wasn't with us, but we were like in this bus that was like covered in Trump stuff. And of course we're like up in the middle in the Midwest and people are like flipping me off and shit.
That's wild.
Because they think he's on the bus. Anyways, yeah, people are like, they were like, "Fuck you," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm just a guy. I'm here for a book."
Yeah,
like
that's wild. I had no idea you did that either.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool job. And then I started school, man, and got busy with that. I had a girlfriend.
So to merge our lines for a second, whenever I met you, it's whenever I started my YouTube channel, and I was working out at Guerrilla Warfare, and
we did one little video.
We did a video back then, which is now the wildest thing to watch.
God, how long ago was that?
It had to have been 2017.
Yeah, that was when I got back from Asia.
Yeah.
Not long after that.
So it had to have been 2017. And that video is so funny, dude. Like when I look at it, for one thing, it's just so bad. Like in the best way, you know what I mean? It's just
dude,
like it's in the best
way. You were getting started,
yeah.
like you know what I'm saying? But I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I'm in a video.
In video, yeah.
He's doing a video about me. Like, this is pretty rad.
Yeah, that's probably why people came on so much, because they didn't understand how little influence I had at the time.
But hey, man, we all got to start somewhere,
But dude, it's so cool to see you back then. But anyways, I met you about that time, so that would have been after all the book stuff.
Yeah, so
you were in school at that time, probably.
Yeah, so I went through school like 2016. I had a girlfriend, had a really bad breakup, and like within a few weeks after that, my buddy Kyle Pruitt, shout out to Kyle. He's honestly the only person I talked to from high school, and he was a grade above me, and like we played football together and shit. And but my boy Kyle hit me up. He's like, "Hey Joe, you want to go to Southeast Asia for a few months?" And I was like that's what the fuck? Like, why would I do that? Mm-hmm. I'm in school now. Like, I'm on track.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want to stay on track. And he just planted that seed, and he's like, "I'll get back to you on it." And so I was just thinking about it and started obsessing about it and just thinking about the possibilities. I was like, dude, I could just up and leave and go overseas and just travel the world. Something a lot of people don't do. Mm-hmm. And people travel, but like just to take off and backpack through Asia for several months.
Right.
And so Kyle hit me up, a couple weeks after that. And I was like, I'm in, bro. And next thing you know, that end of that year, so this is the end of 2016, we flew out to fucking Hong Kong. And, I spent like 3 or 4 months out there, man. Flew to Hong Kong, went to Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, Singapore, Bali, And yeah, dude, I just traveled with a backpack and just
awesome.
saw all that shit, man. Like, just had the time of my life, man. Just didn't care about anything else. We're just there to like enjoy life and the experience and the culture, and just one day at a time, man. It was so perfect. I met, Kyle traveled for like 5 or 6 weeks. He had to get back to work, but I was just like, dude, I'm gonna stay a couple more months. And I met this dude Troy, who's still a good friend of mine. He lives in Charleston, and like Troy and I are still very close. And he and I end up meeting and just traveling together, and for about that last couple months, and it was just cool as shit, man. And I could go over all the experiences there.
You got any crazy story you want to throw in?
Man, I'll never forget. It was a lot of fun. I mean, fuck, I have so many crazy stories from out there. I mean, I could go on and on.
Some of them you probably.
But one of the coolest is like Kyle and I were in Cambodia, and he organized with this dude about us going to shoot a bunch of stuff, right? And so this guy picked us up from our hostel one morning. He had a cooler full of beer, and we're just like, fuck yeah, dude. So we're just downing beers, and we're in this car for like an hour and a half. I don't know where we're going. We're in Cambodia. It's like the fucking Wild West out there. And all of a sudden he turns down this dirt road. I'm already like, we're both like 6 beers in, got a nice little buzz. And like I remember Kyle looking at me like, dude, this is kind of sketchy. But we get down this road, and then there's this big tent, and there's just all these weapons, and there's like Cambodian military there. There's some couple there. They're leaving as we pull up. And yeah, dude, we just fucking, as we went, we're just buying shit like rocket launchers, It's like, hey, I want to shoot a rocket launcher. Okay. Do you want to blow anything up? Sure. Yeah. They put a big old barrel of fuel out there for you to blow up, rocket launchers, grenade launchers, fucking 50 cals, like fucking
what?
Like the Rambo machine guns. Like they're just letting us shoot.
Y'all just stood out in the middle of the forest shooting shit?
Yeah. And they're just like feeding us beers the whole time. And we're just fucking, I shot all that stuff for like $450, which honestly
is insane.
Did you spend that much downtown Nashville shooting automatics?
The rocket you shot was probably $450.
Dude, I mean, so the rockets are from like the war. And so like I had like 6 duds. So I'd pull the trigger and it wouldn't fire. So so by the time I got to one,
that's not even slightly dangerous at all.
And it kind of freaked me out. I'm like, fuck, like, well, are any of these even going to take off?
Yeah, or it blows up in your hand.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're fucking there. And so I'm like, shit. And then so about the 6-1, you're like, all right, this one's probably a dud too. And then you pull the trigger and it's just like,
you're like barely holding it and it like goes flying. Also.
Fucking nuts, man.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, really cool experience. And, so we just made the most of it, man. And like,
so who did you say took you there?
My buddy Kyle Pruitt.
Kyle is the one who took you to that?
That was Kyle. Some guy from Cambodia. Yeah, they had like a service. You can sign up for this stuff easy. You can just search it. But
that is crazy.
It's just something they offer there. Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. So that was a lot of fun, and we just did so much cool shit, man. Hiking volcanoes and just partied like a motherfucker, and just meeting all these different people, and experiencing all this cool cultural stuff. And I got scuba dive certified out there, and I got my advanced certification out there. Spent a week doing that, and that was cool because I was able to go diving in like Bali and shit, and like swim with giant manta rays and shit like that, and just so overall it was just such a insanely amazing experience. I felt just so free and like just I thought I had on do not disturb. I do, but these motherfuckers stop calling me. Going down here. Anyways, I haven't had this many interruptions on my phone.
Not yet.
Anyways, dumb. By the way, I don't know who that was calling, so it's not anybody. But it was like a toll-free number.
Oh, you gotta love that, dude.
Yeah, but anyways, so yeah, just traveled fucking Southeast Asia, and
That's
like
insane.
And the main stipulations, I had to be back for my sister's wedding, which was like in March or April. So yeah, I got back just in time for my sister's wedding, and and then I got involved with just some crazy stuff, man. I was about to start school back, and then got more involved with some craziness. I don't want to go too into detail about that.
I don't think it really deserves a whole lot of.
No, yeah, but just, I had fun. I, hanging out with people, but I just got back into like partying a lot and just more stuff that kind of remind me of where I was in college. Mm-hmm. And then it just got to a point there where I was just like, man, I'm kind of going down the same road. Mm-hmm. And it was fun. I had some good times, but I needed to get back on track again. Yeah. So yeah. And then I went through fucking shit. And then I met my ex and like, moved in with her and, just started continuing school and everything. And and just kept.
So how did you remove yourself from that situation when you said you started to go down the same path? And
I just kind of, same thing, man. I was like, just told people around me, like, I can't go down this path again.
Yeah.
Like, I recognize this. I feel the same as I did. You know, I was just doing a lot of shady stuff, man. I was still the same guy, but just didn't.
Well, obviously, I know, like intimately what you're talking about because I know, I was there and I have my own experiences with,
with that a little bit,
with
yeah.
that situation, but
it just got so chaotic, man. I was just living like a really fast life, man. Like,
So when a person wants to pull themselves, I'm always trying to figure out what little nugget can we pull here, right? So like earlier with the thing in the mirror, right? I'm picturing a person who's kind of in a similar situation. It's like, so when you're in a situation like that, you're surrounded by all this shit that's bad for you, all these people that you've allowed to become close.
Yeah.
And then you realize this isn't good for me.
It's not necessarily that all the people are bad.
Yeah.
It's just that the lifestyle is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's easy to get sucked into that black hole, man. I mean, and the people get stuck in it for a long time. It's easy to it's so much fun just being promiscuous and fucking partying and doing this and doing all these drugs and just raising hell and getting in fights. You kind of get like
addicted
into it,
yeah.
Because you're not supposed to be doing it. And I've always had that rebellious spirit anyways. I like try to go against the grain. So I kind of enjoyed that. But then I realized like, fuck, it's bringing me kind of downhill again. And I'm not going to succeed from here. And I'm going to end up ruining my life, or something bad's going to happen if I continue down this. So I just kind of reflected back to where I was when I was in college. And I was like, dude, I don't want to go down that again.
Cut it off.
Yeah. So I cut it off, man. I just told people around me, I was like, listen, I got to cut the strings and I got to move forward and do better. And so, yeah. So I was back in school. I'd met her, met my ex, and just was focused on that, man. And just kind of living, like my life totally changed, slowed down a lot. There were some good times, don't get me wrong, but it was just like, I don't know, it's just totally opposite.
Yeah.
And I need that balance. I need that balance of chaos and also just like chilling. And so long story short, I just kept going through that. And let's see. And then I went out to this event in Virginia. And I went to a metal show, met some dudes, and they kept inviting me to like come out to Virginia to this thing. And I went out to this event, and I was really struggling with like my spirituality at the time. I'm not Christian. I'm pretty open about that. I'm pagan, and I stay, very devout in my beliefs, man. I mean, that's deep rooted into who I am. It's something I'm very devoted to. And
probably more than anybody that I know, to be honest, when it comes to like your spirituality and
most people that know me, like they're like he may not believe in the same thing, but that dude's devoted as fuck to what he is. Not
to go down a rabbit hole, but like the people that I mean, honestly, it's Christian people. I mean, it just is what it is. That comment on the post and say stuff like that. I'm like,
yeah.
You have like, this man is so
I don't care
in tune with his spirituality, and he devotes so much of himself to it. Like you like saying those kind of things. It's like,
it's so much bigger than we all can fathom. And, but at the end of the day, everybody's got what they believe in, and I respect that.
It's just like, if you knew how much he puts into this and how if you knew him and if you knew, it's honestly kind of sad whenever you see that. You can't let it bother you, but it's like, when people say that stuff, it's like.
Well, people just assume that you're lost, too. Because you're not on the same page as them. And it's like, listen, I'm fucking found, bro. Yeah. Like, I'm not lost. I am so deeply rooted into what I believe. Like, nothing can fucking change that. I am unfazed by anything you say because it's that important to me. So just understand that. Nothing's changing, And it took me a long time, though. I had to, like, really battle with my convictions and stuff. Like, when I did kind of change my beliefs, because I was raised a certain way and raised under a certain way of beliefs. I was raised Christian and stuff like that, and my family still is, but they, they've come to know me and like what I believe in, and they respect that, and they're like, there is more, like, you're proof of that. And anyways, and they, they all respect it. So where was that?
You went to Virginia?
Yeah, and I went to this event out in Virginia, and it was fucking cool, man. I showed up on my motorcycle, met up with some dudes that I had like been talking to on social media, namely my buddy Sean Hudson. He's like one of the best friends in the fucking world. I love him to death. And we hung out that whole time. But I was in the woods of Virginia, man, and we just like got together with like 100 other dudes, and there were some females, but it was mostly just like super masculine stuff. And we were doing fighting all weekend, like just boxing and shit, and going through seminars and all this kind of cool stuff. And there was a big like black metal concert, you know, because they had a few bands. So we did like this big pagan ritual. And that was extremely powerful, man. That was my first like big ritual I was a part of. But I felt my gods. I felt everything, man. It was real. And I was like, this is my path. Like it just, that said it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is what I am. This is what I believe in. And like, I was so firm in that from that moment. And I'll never forget it. And then we had this big metal show and shit. And like, you know, next thing you know, I rode my motorcycle back. Well, let's see, a month later, this is in 2018. So that was like August or September 2018. I want to say August. But anyways, so like a month or so later, you know, it's October 2018.
Are you about to do the story?
The story.
Okay, 1 second. So October of 2018, which by the way, I was thinking in between our little break there, which to them was half a second. Crazy time travel. But,
Crazy.
I was thinking, damn, you went to that ceremony, found all that shit.
Yeah, it was
right before. I mean, what kind of divine timing is that?
I know. I really
like what? Like, do you think that you would have? And I know we're jumping ahead a little bit for the audience, but do you think you would have been able to go through that had you not have just came to that place spiritually?
I think that was always, you know, looking back on it, I think overcoming it was always within me.
Yeah.
You know, but I think spiritually and like being surrounded by my peers and stuff that shared the similar mindset made me harder. So it helped me get through this a little bit better because I knew eyes were on and I was like, there was that pressure.
Right.
Without it being said, that pressure was there. I felt it. And I was like, I have to fucking overcome.
Like you could
I have to inspire the, you know, I got to show, you know, people around me what I'm made of. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like,
100%.
But it's also, I'm showing my gods, I'm showing the things I believe too, that, hey, I'm worthy. I can overcome this trial. Yeah. You know?
I think that's a great way to put it. It was definitely within you, you know, but I'm sure that was great timing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure that was great timing for sure.
Yeah. So
a month later you get back.
So a month later I get back. It was October 2018. I usually rode my Harley to school and it was a pretty chilly morning. It was like in the 40s and I had like an hour, well, on the bike a little bit quicker than that, but I had a little bit of trip to campus to Murfreesboro from Hermitage, Tennessee, and I was like, well, screw it, it's gonna warm up. You know, my ex, she was leaving. She had left town the day before that, so she was out of town, and I had some buddies flying in that Thursday night to spend the weekend with me. Actually, Kyle and Troy, the ones I talked about. So Kyle, I went to Asia with. Troy, I met out there. They were coming in. We were all getting back together. We were going to go caving and, you know, just party and just do some stuff in Nashville that weekend. So they were planning on flying in, that Thursday night, I believe. So, but their flights didn't get until like 8 p.m. So I left campus probably around 11 or so, 10, something, 11. I left class. And it was beautiful out. Still a little chilly. It was like in the 60s. And when you're cruising around, like it cools down a bit.
Well, from that morning, from the story.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you saying that you were like.
Well, I posted a picture where it's weird. I still got the clip. So I took a picture of my bike on the driveway that morning. It was like 40-something degrees. And I was like, this is a bad idea. That's what I said in the caption about below it.
Insane.
And hopped on my bike, rode to school. Left class, and I was like, you know, I got to pick them up to the airport till tonight. I got some time to cruise around, you know, going somewhere I shouldn't have been going. Not getting into that right now. But long story short, I hopped on the fucking bike, was cruising. I was over on, Cason Lane in Murfreesboro. If anybody's familiar with Murfreesboro area, that's local. There's a school there called Cason Academy. And it's a residential area mostly, and speed limit's like 35 miles per hour. So I'm coming through this light, and, you know, the school's up here on the left, but I'm just cruising along, you know, nice day, got my apes, and I look up at the light, it's green and everything. You know, I'm actually going the speed limit, which, you know.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
Ironically, if you wouldn't have been.
Oh, yeah. Well, could have changed a lot of things. But ain't no telling. But, so I was going the speed limit, and I'm cruising through. I get to this intersection, I look over, and from me to like the wall over here, well, probably about 20 feet away, I'd say, I look and I just said, fuck. And as soon as I said that, like my brain and everything shut off. And what had happened was this car, we had hit like corner to corner pretty much on her front passenger side.
Where is she coming from? And where
She's coming, so I'm going straight. She's coming from the left side. So as soon as I saw her, I said, fuck. And it's like my brain shut off before the impact even was made. We hit corner to corner, and I've got pictures. It's pretty gnarly. And the car is just smashed in on that side. And he's pretty, Harleys are pretty big too. It's like a 900-pound bike or some shit. Hit corner to corner, fishtailed into the side, smashed in the side of her car. Then my body flew into the windshield, and it launched me. And so my bike went 100 feet down the road, give or take. Like you see it, like when you see pictures, man, like the road's fucked up. Like you see tire marks and everything. And it went underneath another car. Her car, like 360'd into like across the intersection into the curb. And then I flew 90 feet through the air and landed like kind of feet first. And like my boots flew off. I didn't have them tied. So my boots flew off when I was riding. And so, yeah, so I flew 90 feet in the air to the right into it and landed in a field. And fortunately landed in the field too. And so I didn't get any road rash or anything, but long story short, yeah, so I'm laying there on my back, and I come to, and I look up, and I see my left femur sticking out of my leg. And I said, fuck. I laid my head down. This officer came up. He was like, hey, man, you've been in a really bad accident. Like just stay still. And I'm just like, shit, yeah, well, obviously, and it's just, I'm laying there, man, and there's just chaos going on around me, dude. I hear just like all these noises. And I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I just keep telling myself, like, what in the world just happened? And I don't feel an ounce of pain. All I know is like my bones sticking out of my leg. But I don't feel anything. I'm pretty, like my adrenaline must be pumping 100, I don't know how fast, but it's going crazy. So yeah, I don't feel any pain. I always give this analogy, you're a gamer, right? Mm-hmm. So you play like, I remember playing like the old Call of Duties. Yeah. You get like a cutscene where the guy like gets blown up and like, his ears are ringing and it's like you're there looking through his eyes.
Not the same thing at all, but I got in a car accident, totaled my car one time, and that's the first thing I remember. It's like looking up and like it's like everything
it's like it's not
stops.
even real.
Yeah, it's like everything stops for a second and you just hear like it's like you're like what exactly is going on? It's like fuzzy. It's like wait a second, what? It's almost like you're like in a trance or something. You're just like, yeah, like it's not real, like it's a dream. You're like, this is interesting, and you're like, wait, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah,
what? Like, yeah.
So this whole time, I'm just laying there, and it's like I'm watching one of those cutscenes through my eyes, right? Because I don't feel anything. It's just such a weird sensation. And I'm like, all right, and he's asking me for phone numbers. I don't remember any phone numbers. My phone's all jacked up. And he's like, all right, well, I called you a life flight. So I'm like thinking like, fuck, I got a life flight. Like, that's pretty serious, And so the life flight gets there. They load me up on a stretcher. And, and jokingly, I'm like, man, am I going to die? Am I going to die or something like that? They're like, so we're going to try to keep that from happening. Dude, immediately, I just felt this like, this weight. I was like, holy shit, like, whoa, this is actually could be it, And so I'm laying on this stretcher. They load me on the helicopter, and I just start, man, before we even get up in the air, I just close my eyes, and I'm like, Joe, fucking stay alive. And I just start thinking about my parents, my niece, my nieces, my sister. Well, my sister didn't have Skylar yet, but yeah, my niece Jaden, and my sister and my family and everything. And I'm like, fuck, dude, like I got to see them again. Mm-hmm. Like I can't go right now. I got to be here. And it was just such a weird thing, man. And it was like, stay alive. And these people just kept flowing through my mind. Mm-hmm. I was like, God, I love them so much. I got to stay here. And then and next thing you know, as my eyes are closed, I remember having this visual, and it was kind of like the month before I was at that big ritual in Virginia, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a big ritual fire in the middle of that we all gathered around. And it was almost as if I was like around that fire, but I was by myself. But it was just embers in this fire. And all of a sudden, I just saw like that flame, that ritual flame just ignite. And I woke up in ICU. And so, of course, I wake up in ICU. Doctors are coming in. You should be dead. Like, I don't know how you're not. All this crazy shit. And, I remember being surrounded by my family and stuff and just overwhelmed by how many people were there just checking on me. And I'm forever grateful for everybody that showed up and just wanted to be there for me. And, one thing that's stuck since then is just gratitude for people. Gratitude is one of the greatest things. And that's why I always try to be really grateful for those around me and show them that. And just showing somebody gratitude simply is just such an important, has such a massive effect. Like just telling them thank you, just showing them that they mean something. They mean a lot to you and you appreciate them. Like that goes so fucking far, man. And so I always try to tell people in my life nowadays how grateful I am. I got grateful tattooed on my wrist. Lydia got it tattooed on her foot. But like, we always tell each other before we go to bed, like, hey, I'm grateful for you, and this is something very important to us.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, man. So we got our little matching grateful tattoos.
But just, that attitude. Just you thinking that way, it's awesome. It's like, dude, I've heard the story before, but like every time I hear it, I'm like sitting here thinking, honestly, like I'm kind of zoned out. I'm thinking like, goddamn, like I can't believe, like I'm thinking about that first video that we made that we mentioned. I'm thinking like we had no idea, like what would happen between then and us sitting here right now.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like I'm so grateful that you made it through that, dude.
Thanks,
like
man.
I can't even imagine like this story ending there.
Yeah, it's
like
fucking
man.
nuts. I know,
sitting
man.
across from me, I'm like, God, it just makes me want to fucking give you a hug. While I'm sitting here, bro. I'm just like, thank God.
We'll be sure to hug right after this. It's gonna be a great hug. But yeah, man. And so that was, that was in October. So that was right before like my 29th birthday would have been was that following April. So I was 28, and I always think about that all the time. Like, man, I almost didn't make it to 29. And so. Of course, the doctors start coming in and they're telling me like pretty much everything that's wrong with me. I remember being told, so I'll give everybody kind of a rundown, like head to toe of like what actually happened. Long story short, I had a TBI. So I started with TBI, work your way down. I had an aortic aneurysm that I was unaware of that was bleeding into my right lung, which was also collapsed. I lacerated, like 6 or 7 organs. I broke a couple ribs. I broke my hip in 3 places. My femur came out. I broke my right patella, my tibial plateau, my tibia, fibula, crushed both my ankles, crushed both my feet, crushed all my toes. So I'm like from head to toe, I had some serious shit going on, man.
And
I was
the TBI
fucked.
alone.
Yeah, the TBI was pretty minor. I think my biggest thing was the aortic aneurysm. They had to put an emergency graft there. I had no idea that was going on.
What is that exactly?
So it's basically I had like my descending aorta, like behind my heart that runs down. And I thinking because like the impact was so powerful and like probably just such a rush through my like adrenal gland and stuff like that, it just caused that fucking aorta to tear open.
And that's I know I sound like an idiot, but that's a vein, right? An aorta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, fucking A, I should know this. Sorry to my professors. But the aorta, like, it's one of the main, it's one of the main arteries, like, connected to your heart, pretty much. So that ripped open and was bleeding in, like I said, my right collapsed lung. I had no idea, man. And, like, they said just from that one injury, just from that aortic aneurysm, I think it's like a 80%, 90% chance, like, life or death, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Just from that one injury.
Yeah. And so you look at this laundry list of things like, fuck, and I did get stabbed in my thigh, like right below my nuts, and by something we don't know, but that caused a lot of nerve damage in my right leg. And, that was bleeding out pretty bad. And so I lost over like half my blood through this whole process too. So I had no idea. Yeah. And so
all that had happened before you woke up?
Yeah. All this shit happened. Like, I guess I probably woke up after emergency heart surgery and stuff, and so but yeah, all that crazy shit, dude. And yeah, so I was in ICU, man, and there's just a lot going on. And, of course, I'm hooked up to Dilaudid. I'm on all this shit. And, I'm kind of just trying to be numb. I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like, now it's starting to hurt. You know what I'm saying? I've got like things strapped up to my legs and, and all that. And
what was that? What was that pain like?
Man, it's hard to describe. It really is. I was so numb to it because of the drugs. Really, I was having like pretty extreme headaches from the TBI. So that was probably the worst thing, to be honest. And I couldn't have any water because they had to do so many scans. So like I can't move, and I'm thirsty as fuck. And I'm like, guys, I'm telling the nurses, like, I need some fucking water. Like, my mouth was so dry, and I couldn't go get a glass of water. They're like, sorry, you can't have water. We got to do more. And I'm like freaking out now. And so the only water I can get, they had to stick like a stick on it was a stick with a little piece of sponge on the end of it, and they dipped that in some water, and I could like suck the water off of that sponge. Yeah. And that,
How long did that go on?
Fuck, it felt like forever, man. I couldn't tell you exact timeline just because I was just ready to get through it. And they put me through these scans, and like I still have like PTSD from fucking doing MRIs. Like I've gone to get scanned recently, and just I start hearing that click, and I kind of freak out because it brings me back there. Because I remember just being in this machine and like
all the time.
Oh yeah, and I remember telling them like, "Let me the fuck out of here!" Freaking out. They had to pull me out several times and be like, "Listen, you still got to keep going. Like we have to do this," because I just spaz out. And so I got through that, man, so I worked my way through that whole ICU experience, and they bumped me a level down, and, I was just well taken care of, and, it was just really tough. I always think back to this time, well, you don't know, but I always think about this time where I had to shit in a pan because I couldn't go to the bathroom. I had to shit in this pan they had to put under me, and I remember my dad holding me on my side while, like, my mom wiped my ass. And I just remember just being in tears, just like crying, like, fuck, this sucks, dude, because you're like solely dependent on everybody around you. And I don't like that. I love being everybody likes imagine just as a man or anybody in general, like not being able to wipe your own ass is a pretty fucking hard pill to swallow.
Oh, yeah.
So just things like that were so difficult. And so I was in ICU, and then finally they transferred me to a rehab facility here in Murfreesboro. And I went through OT and PT, and they just worked with me. I finally got just gradually building to where I could get myself, off the bed, into a wheelchair, and then into the shower. And that was just a gradual, slow build. But overall, between ICU and rehab, I honestly was there for like 21 days.
So we have a shirt I actually wore it here and not changed into your new job.
Oh, yeah, with the Reaper on the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the arrows in it. It's got like an arrow for each day you're in ICU.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah. So it's really fucking cool. And you got the Reaper pointing at the hourglass because, relentless pursuit, your time's running out. Like, get after it.
Yeah.
So
what's their best guess as to how you survived that? Are they all just so mind-blown? They're like, we don't fucking know. We're just going to keep trying to make you better?
I think it's just
I mean, they just have no clue. Is there any theory at all?
I think it's just some people are more fortunate than others, I know one big thing they did say is, like, hadn't I been in the shape I was, that I'd probably be dead. So that's a big testament to me for like training clients.
I was about to say.
Or like pushing fitness.
Or just health and fitness.
It can save your life in a fucking emergency like that. And you don't even know it.
Literally.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Had I been too small or like severely overweight, you never know. Like I wouldn't be here. But also there's like mindset too, man. I think a lot of times people run in these situations and like maybe they just give up. Yeah. Or they pray about it and they're just like, oh, it's in God's hands or whoever's hands, but at the end of the day, I think it's just mindset. Like, no, I need to fucking push through. I need to stay. I think you got to want it.
Well, God wants you to fight, right?
Yeah. And I think that's just part of it, man. Like spiritually and just like the mindset I've acquired over the years has just been like, fucking fight it, dude. Just fight through. You're going to make this. And that's a big part of it too. So, man, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that compile that make it, as to why I'm here today.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, and then I just honestly just started sharing my fucking journey with people. People were creating huge donations for me. Like I had so many people come through for, from like the book modeling world and just locally, and everybody was just doing what they could, starting GoFundMe's and support me and root me on. I just felt just an overwhelming amount of love from so many people, like a lot of strangers, and I'm just like, man, and it gives you hope, man. It's like, dude, the world's not as bad as people say. The fucking social media makes it seem. Like there's a lot of love out there, and coming from strangers, man, they just want to see you do good. And like, I'm just like, fuck, man, like people actually really care.
I remember you saying something, maybe in one of the podcasts, or maybe it was the video that we did, I don't remember, but you said, I hope everybody gets the chance to feel the love that I felt.
Yeah.
I mean, what a statement. You know what I'm saying? It's like whenever Steve said that he was like, wow, what an opportunity. Like he said something like that. I don't remember what it was in his episode.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about when he lost his leg, and I was like, hold
the
on
opportunity to have lost his leg.
Yeah, I was like, can we come back to the fact that he just said it was an opportunity to lose? Like, what a mind. And
I feel the same way. Like getting hit by that car, cheating death, and everything that's come from it was an opportunity. And it was one of the most beautiful opportunities I've ever been blessed with. Mm-hmm. Truly, I look back on now and there's not one thing I'd change. I'm glad I went through that.
Yeah.
And some people are like, that's fucking insane. I know my mom will be like, no, you're not glad. You know, my mom still gets upset. But, you know, that's my mother.
Yeah.
She's going to look at it a little different through a different lens than I am, but she almost lost her son, you know. But to me, I'm just very fucking grateful for the whole experience, man. Yeah. And it's just
that's just a crazy state. For you to say, I hope everybody gets to experience the love that I felt, you know, it's like, you're not talking about, I hope nobody has to experience that pain. I hope, which obviously I'm sure you'd think that too, but it's like through all of that, what you saw was, look at all this love around me.
Yeah.
Look at like this story that I can help change people's lives with. That's what you saw.
Oh, I remember sharing stories just like bawling. I have one on my phone. I look all fucked up. I'm in the hospital. I'm just crying. And I'm just like, everybody, thank you so much. Like, I'm just bawling my eyes out. I'm just so overwhelmed with like gratitude and love. I'm like, holy shit, these people care about me like that. And I couldn't hold the tears back, man. And I used to cry all the time just thinking about it. Like every day at some point, I just burst out into tears.
Well, there's a reason why people did that, dude, because it's genuine love. I mean, you have a lot of people that genuinely care for you, and it's because of the kind of person that you are.
And that being said, man, I appreciate that, man, but I try to be the best I can. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's times I'm like, man, I'm not worthy of that kind of love, you know, and I think that's just like the anxiety and shit that I've had to deal with. Thing. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm here today. And so, but I shared the journey. I fucking got after it. You know, I was balls to the wall through it all, getting physical therapy and just sharing, you know, my progress with everybody. And it just inspired a lot of fucking people. And my whole life, I've wanted to help people. I didn't know exactly what I want to do. I remember being a kid and like, I wanted to be I remember saying I want to be a plastic surgeon. I don't know. Maybe I was just a kid and I wanted to see boobs. It's probably what it was. And I knew plastic surgeons made a lot of money. I was like, dude, I can see boobs and get paid for it. Like, this is fucking great. And I was like a little kid.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a plastic surgeon. There's like nothing about me that wants to do that now.
Yeah.
But as a kid, it sounded cool.
Well, we're going to take the deep part and say it's because you wanted to help people.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
which it was.
You do help them be better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
But I always just had that piece of me that wanted to just help others in some fashion.
Whatever way that came out.
Well, yeah, and that being said, like when I started school, I was starting with nursing because I wanted to help people, be hands-on, proactive about it. But nursing long story, but it didn't really work out for me.
Well, it's the short version is you said you were too, like, couldn't handle the guts and shit.
No, it's not the guts. I think
you said something along those lines.
I could deal with blood and stuff, but I think, dude, I swear, for example, Lydia closed the cat in the bedroom the other day because she sneaks in and she pooped on the bed. And I tried to clean it up, dude. I almost threw up. And she's just laughing at me. She's like, Jesus. And I'm like, I'm heaving. I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, Jesus Christ. She's like, you better toughen up for when we have kids.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not ready for that.
But that's the thing, like cat shit, dude. Yeah. So how am I going to deal with some random person's poop? And whatever. I was like, fuck that, man. I started thinking about that. I was like, man, I just can't build the stomach for that kind of shit. Yeah. Blood, guts, cool. I mean, if I could have worked my way to be like a flight nurse, you know, like for like what I went through, like that'd be fucking cool. But anyways, it just didn't pan out that way. So I got back, I got through all that stuff. You know, I was in bed for a couple months. I couldn't walk. Finally learned how to walk again, just going through PT a lot. And I was able to start that next semester of school. So I was on crutches, started going back to school. My goal was physical therapy because, you know, get to help people, right? And so I was always burping on the show. So I was hard charging towards. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I've been doing it too, and I'm just off camera.
But I was headed towards physical therapy.
This is post accident.
Yeah, but then I was just like, you know what, dude? I don't want to fucking do 4 more years of school. Like, I'm ready to graduate from here and just get my degree. I want to do my own thing. I've always wanted to do my own thing, and I just had to be real with myself. And I was like, well, now I have the opportunity to do my own thing. I have a story. I've inspired a lot of people. I can use that momentum and create something that does the same thing. And the story is what starts that. Mm-hmm. And so the whole idea of, you know, that's relentless pursuit. So basically the accident is what led to RP and the logo and everything it stands for. And then, you know, so yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's the whole story of the wreck and everything. So pretty fucking cool journey. Pretty,
well, tell them about it, about RP.
So
where did that, you know, how does the wreck turn into where we're sitting?
Yeah. So, you know, kept going through school. I did end up graduating with my exercise science degree.
Congrats.
Thanks, man. I went to school before. I fucking failed out of college. And, I think it's just always like a personal goal. Like, I got to complete that.
Just finish it.
I failed out. I want to get my degree. I got paid by the military to go to school. I got a really good paycheck to be a student. I'm like, why the fuck do I not just do this, figure out what I want to do along the path?
And now you're a personal trainer. So, like, it worked. Like, that worked out?
Yeah. I personal train. Yeah, like, I'm heavily involved with, like, health and fitness. But, I do everything now, man. It's like, it's a lot. But
you found your niche in that, like you said, nurse, then you said maybe PT.
Personal training is cool, man, because it does allow you the opportunity to work for yourself. And by the way, if you want to be a trainer, we're hiring here at HQ. You can work for yourself. You're not going to be an employee. You're going to be contracting. This is a good spot for you. And you get to be a part of this.
Yep.
And this is going to be huge.
And also, in case you guys didn't know, you can be trained directly by Joe. So whenever you were telling me about your new people recently, I was thinking, yeah, the more that this grows, people are going to be like, wait, I could be trained directly by him. Like, that's going to be
that's a cool testimony too, though, because a lot of people, like I said, I tell them the story of the accident, and they're like, "What the fuck? Look at you now."
Yeah,
exactly. But it's because I wanted it so bad.
Workout.
I was like, dude, after the wreck, I was like, I want to do more than ever.
Yeah,
I've ever have, and I always played sports and did this and that, but and been in the outdoors. But now I am really doing more, man. I mean, I've been hiking mountains and fucking do bare knuckle boxing. I'm lifting all the time. I'm doing this and that. And yeah, I run into fucking issues and injuries from the accident, but I get it fixed. I handle it. I take care of myself, and I keep going forward.
Like something that nobody would know about is that you blew your knee out.
Yeah, I blew my knee out in January, bare knuckle fight. Yeah.
Blew his knee out. Never heard a word about it. I mean, you mentioned it to me one day, but other than that, you didn't even say anything to me about it.
I shared like one picture on my story.
Yeah.
And people are like, what the fuck's going on,
You were, so the last thing we're going to get into here, our last segment, is coming from there, the RP. Where'd the name come from? Where'd the logo come from?
Yeah, so
you wanted to make a difference. You wanted to use your story, but why this?
Yeah, so I wanted to start a brand. I was like, I want to start like a brand. I know apparel because I worked with an apparel company before. Why don't I just kind of go down that path and like figure it out? Start a brand that means something. Get people wearing the shirts. Like spread that message. Do something positive. I knew I could do something positive with it, and so I don't know. So it started like kind of rocky. It took me forever to figure out the fucking name. And at first I wanted to go Pursuit Fitness, which looking back would have limited me a lot because with it being Relentless Pursuit, not just labeled fitness, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That limits it to a fitness thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Relentless Pursuit just applies to all of it, and it worked out beautifully. But I talked to a trademark attorney. He's like, that's not going to work. I was like, well, shit. And then, God, my mom reminded me of this story. But somehow with her, the word relentless popped up, like Relentless Pursuit together. And I was like, fuck, that's it. Like, that clicks. So the name Relentless Pursuit was something that we came up with. And I was like, I'm going to go with that. That's perfect, and just keep it RP on everything. Got with the trademark attorney. He ran it all through. Cool. Trademark. It's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way.
So watch out. Which anybody looking to start a brand or if they really want to take it seriously, especially something like in the apparel business that's going to be out there a lot, like I highly suggest just paying the money, getting it trademarked, have that fucking security. Because, we talked about it. I had a big company try to trademark Relentless Pursuit a month after I filed for it. Had I not done it the right way, I'd have had to change the fucking name, and that would suck, dude.
And you were advised not to do it.
Yeah, I had a few people be like, oh, don't worry about trademarking. Like, just wait till you get things going. Well,
if you would have waited.
Yeah, but I was like, nah, I got a feeling I'm going to fucking do it.
If you would have waited, you wouldn't be able to.
And I didn't want to see how things went. I knew things were going to be big. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so yeah, I came up with the name, and then I got with this guy out in Virginia. He, it's kind of talking about the logo I wanted to do and everything. And so the logo, I'll go ahead and just use this right here.
It's a good one.
So yeah. Oh shit. Knocked it out of my hand. So the logo is a combination of two things. One being a wolf, one being the Ouroboros. The Ouroboros typically depicts a serpent biting its tail or swallowing the tail. And it's big in like occultism and like, just ancient history, but Ouroboros, has a lot of meaning, but one of the main representations is something infinite, something whole. But, I could get into why like I'm so obsessed with wolves, but long story short, I wanted a wolf incorporated in there as well. And
Got a wolf right behind you right now.
got a wolf right behind me. But wolves are always in pursuit. You know, we got one of the slogans here is hunt, eat, repeat. You know, and I think of wolves. Wolves, they hunt down their prey, they eat, they repeat. That's their fucking cycle. They do it together. And which is another reason why this is big, because it's not just me. Like everybody that's a part of it collectively is our fucking wolf pack, pretty much. So hunt, eat, repeat. So yeah, we did the Ouroboros, which represents something infinite, something whole, and then the wolf, which is always in pursuit, and tied them together. So you tie in that infinite, ongoing pursuit. So it's a never-ending thing. And so I wanted to tie that in with everything we do. Everybody can relate to that. You know, maybe you're not into fitness, but you've got some other pursuit in your life that's very important. Be fucking relentless towards it, because you never know what could fucking happen. And I use my story. It could be over just like that, you know? And so, yeah, we came up with the logo and then tie them in together. And I fucking, let's see.
You talked about it a little bit last time, but when you were set to launch was about the worst time.
Oh, yeah, because I went to Patagonia, Chile, and then.
You went there?
Yeah, I went to Patagonia.
I mean, I remember you going to Patagonia, but you did that for the shirts?
No, I had gotten my first shipment in. Well, no, I had like launched a website or like gotten the Instagram started right around that time. And then I ended up getting back, and I remember hearing about COVID and all this shit, but you know, nothing was set in stone. And then, okay, no, now I remember. My bad. So right before COVID, I went to Patagonia, right? Like a month or within weeks before. I'd just gotten all my first shirts in. But the week before I went to Patagonia, we had that huge tornado come through Nashville. Mm-hmm. Well, I'd ordered all these shirts. I had all this shit. And once I realized how much I ordered, I was like, man, I went overboard. Jesus. Oh, see, we're not supposed to be going this late. That's why. It's all good. But I had this alarm set.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. But, so I had ordered all that stuff, and I got it in right before I went to Patagonia. And then the tornado came through Nashville, destroyed a bunch of shit. So I went to the grocery store. I bought a bunch of, you know, necessities. I've spent probably $1,200 on shit for people, and, you know, things I could bring downtown before I left to Patagonia. And I also brought a shit ton of apparel, you know, downtown, and donated it all. And then I got back, went to Patagonia, and got back, and like right when I got back, shit was hitting the fan with COVID.
You almost got stuck out there.
Yeah, almost got stuck. I forget exactly how that all panned out, but I almost got stuck, but I had to hurry and get back. And I didn't really want to come back. Once I saw the news and social media and what was going on here, I was like, why would I go back there? Yeah. Like, I just want to chill in these mountains here. But, you know, my family and stuff's here too. So it's a fan. I got to be here.
Yeah.
But so got back, and I had done my first launch like right in that time frame, and I was like, you know, I sold some stuff, but I still had a shit ton of stock. I'm pretty sure from that first shipment, I still got like at least a couple shirts.
From the first shipment?
Yeah, I ordered so many, and like, but you know, they're just like one-off sizes, things that people probably don't even know are there.
You also put a significant investment into the content side.
Oh yeah, big
time. That was, I'm sure, a big thing as well.
Yeah. So, but then, you know, that's the whole idea. That's the cool thing though, too, is like it happened around like right when COVID bullshit started. And, you know, but that's Relentless Pursuit, man. We're like, all right, well, this is a whole nother thing to take on. Like nobody else knows what's going to go on, you know, and we're still suffering effects from that. I can't get certain things from manufacturers because they're still backed up from that shit.
Golly.
And, you know, now the government doesn't even care about it. Go figure.
Yeah, right. All the guidelines are what everybody was trying to do originally.
Oh, yeah. It's so dumb. Don't even get me going. Yeah. But we'll say that.
I won't. We'll have this whole damn episode taken off the internet forever.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I just kept trucking through, man, and just kept getting shit out there. You know, next thing you know, we're doing events. We're doing photo shoots. I'm gaining athletes. I've got some killer athletes on the team, you know, that do anything from bodybuilding to bare knuckle fighting to, you know, snowboarding with one leg, just all this really cool shit. And, and just kept doing that for a few years. And now here we are.
Yeah.
You know, and I've talked recently about, you know, stuff this past year, so I don't need to go into detail on that. But yeah, here we are in the headquarters, and now we got the RPHQ, and we've got this wonderful podcast production going and a gym and apparel being sold. And yeah, we're just kicking ass, man. And we're not slowing down anytime soon. Just getting started, baby.
Absolutely.
I say that over and over again.
Just getting started.
Yep.
It's crazy. I was thinking too while you were talking, it's a cool like buzz thing to say, but pretty sure this is correct. I knew this last time I said it, but I'm almost positive the first video on the RP page ever was you and I sitting in my apartment.
Yeah.
Doing a podcast with a clip-on mic that we've talked about this a little bit with the clip-on mic in between us.
Yep.
And the clip that you posted was of you explaining the logo.
Yeah.
But I should put that you explaining it then next to you explaining it just now.
Yeah.
And just see how different it is.
A little bit different. Well, I'm a lot more comfortable.
But no, I just mean like, I can't, it's just hard to.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I know what you're saying.
Coming from there, bro. Like
a side by side.
We sat down on that podcast. That was kind of you announcing it in a way. I don't know how much you had done to that point, but.
Not much.
That was part of the reason why we did the podcast, because I think we'd already done one before. And then that one was specifically to talk about that.
Yep.
And so the first video I ever posted on RP was a podcast. And then a couple years later, we're in a podcast studio, you and me again.
Doing our thing.
Telling the story again.
Yeah, dude.
So it's
pretty
cool,
gnarly.
man.
It's pretty rad to reflect on the growth of everything.
It's insane, dude.
Both of our journeys. Hell.
It's
you know
insane.
what I'm saying? So, yeah. So here we are with the Relentless Pursuit, man. And we got all these slogans we live by, The first one I put out there was only greatness, because that's the only option.
Yep.
No matter what your vision of greatness is, no matter what you're trying to pursue or achieve, that's the only thing you'll accept is greatness from that, and so only greatness, I explained the honey repeat thing, there's a couple more. Start yesterday, because, a lot of people say, I'm gonna start tomorrow, I'm gonna start next year. Like, no, you should have started yesterday, baby. Start yesterday. Let's keep it fucking going. So it's really cool, man. I'm very proud of it, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity and support and just everything that's come with it. And I get so spread thin a lot of times, but I love it, man. This is the life. So, and just ready to take over.
It's better you choose your problems, right?
Yeah.
It's like what I've heard before, which I like that a lot. It's like you're going to have things that you struggle with regardless. You're going to have problems, quote unquote problems, regardless. But if you put yourself in the right situation, you can choose your problems.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's been a shit ton of valleys on this journey, man. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're still ascending. Yeah. We're still heading up.
We're literally just getting started, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so it's
just
cool,
the
man.
Surface.
This is what, that's the whole story for everybody, and this is, Relentless Pursuit's a story of ups and downs, some very extreme ups and downs, and but that it embodies what Relentless Pursuit is, man. Just like regardless of the ups or the downs, you just keep charging forward, man, and you stay relentless towards it.
Well, and I think that you embody that, and that's what you should. It's the person who created it and the person whose message, you live that on a daily basis, and not just because of the motorcycle accident. Like I said, you blew your knee out a few months ago, didn't even know about that. You're always constantly doing all kinds of crazy stuff that I'm like, dude, please stop, because I want to be able to come up here next week.
Yeah.
But the point is that not just then, but since then, and on a day-to-day basis, I see you live it. You live your message, and that's what you got to do, and that's why people believe in you, and that's why people give you the support that they give you, because they believe in you as a person. And
thanks.
So
man.
I think that
it means a lot.
Yeah, I think that it deserves to be said, and I'm certainly proud to even be associated with all this. And so, yeah, like you said, I think that's pretty much the story thus far, but certainly not the end of it.
Yeah. We'll end up doing a refresher of one of these, this again one day down the road, but this is good to get out there for everybody that, has recently started following RP and just are curious about what it even stemmed from.
We'll be in that building over there talking about, remember that first HQ you had when we were sitting in there?
Yeah. Remember, hey, everybody that doesn't know, there's a huge warehouse across the street, and that's my next venture.
There it is.
But, one day.
That's your Relentless Pursuit.
One day, one day. Hey, bigger than that, baby. Let's do it. So,
yeah, I guess that's it for us. If you want to give them your socials real quick, if you're still with us, by the way.
Yeah.
I love you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Anybody tuning into this, it means a lot. Share it, get it out there, do what you can. Please do. And it really does mean a lot. But yeah, so Relentless_Pursuit on Instagram, Relentless_Pursuit_HQ, and my personal is TN_Sweet P. And check out those pages, check out the podcast, and also check out my boy Logan at
Cinema 83 LLC. You can find this podcast on Spotify, YouTube for the video version. Also on well, the Spotify has an audio only and video version, so you can lock it and still listen
Yep.
to it. But Spotify's video and audio, YouTube has the clips and also the full video. If you prefer that, or if you don't have Spotify but you want to watch the video, it's on Apple. It's all over the place. So make sure you listen. Like you said, one thing we want to encourage people to do is leave a review. That'd be great if you could leave a rating or a comment or something like that. That really helps.
Subscribe
Subscribe definitely helps. Share it definitely helps. Yeah, and if you're interested in sponsoring the show, we're definitely building that out.
Yeah.
So reach out. Have some different levels of opportunities on that if that's something anybody would be interested in. I know it's important for you to connect with businesses that you really believe in and that kind of thing. And so
without a doubt.
it'll be cool to see who joins us when it comes to that. But
sir.
other than that, dude, that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah.
Got anything else you want?
I'm good to go. Thank you guys. Y'all have a wonderful
Week.
Yeah, ahead because whatever. Y'all take care. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good shit.
Sir.